And welcome to our Friday edition of the Dojo. This is more of one of our fun ones, but we still do have a lot of training behind it. There's a lot of purpose, but this is more of our own personalities here. This is not LinkedIn Jacob Crotty. This is Jacob Crotty, who just happens to be a Medicare agent. Same thing with Victoria Lewis, with Stephen Grip and Donald Jenkins, aka Brad here, too. So today we are talking about religion.
Oh no!
I'm just kidding. A religion of music. Okay, so
of course,
this morning.
Sad boy religion.
Yes, but this morning it hit me as I was walking Miller, because of course everybody knows what I listen to when I walk the dog in the morning. The This Is Hootie and the Blowfish playlist on Spotify. Okay. And Time came on. So for me to quote Hootie 316 here is we're going to talk about time. That's what we're going to do, because I actually do have a pretty cool story about this here, about how you might not recognize the time that you put into something and the value that you extract out of it, depending upon how much of your actual being that you spend with a person. So to kind of start with an example so we can all kind of get a feel for it, and I'll hit the board here in a second too, just for a little diagram. But this is my interesting call of the day. And this was yesterday, and this was I can't believe I sold something here, okay? So I had a guy call in. He called a different agency, and he's turning 65 in a few years. He's not even Medicare eligible right now, but he's like, I just want to prepare. So me and him, we just get to chat and just talking back and forth and everything like that. And it turns out that this other agency, they quoted him like 5 or 6 things, and in total, the premium is like $550, $600. And I just go, excuse my French, but what the hell did they quote you? And he pulls out like his list, and he goes down everything. And I go, well, you don't need this. You don't need that. You don't need a accident treatment plan or a hospital indemnity plan, because your supplement will cover that. You don't need it. They're just selling policies to where if I sell you 5 and in a year it gets to be too expensive, I can say, you know what, let me take back that 5th one. That way you still have 4. It's almost, me and Buckley were actually talking about this too. It's almost like a business to business strategy, where if I'm working with you on a project and I'm working with your accounting department, okay, I'm trying to figure out what your budget is before and say what it is. Where it could be, I could offer a project at $20,000. Your budget might be $100,000. You go, wow, that's great. Or I can offer it at $150 and your budget is $100, and I can work my way down. Okay, that's what those people were trying to do. So after talking to him again too, he's under 65 here, really nice guy, and I was like, look, they're trying to rip you off. Exactly what they're trying to do. Now I'm on the phone for him for like an hour and 45 minutes at this point, and he goes, all right, well, what should I do next? And I go, the only thing that you should do here in the next year or so, get a dental plan. That way, when you turn 65 and you start your Medicare, you can waive your major waiting period. That way, your plan's going to start right away. You can go get your crowns done, get your teeth did, get everything did, and you don't have to wait until you're 66. And he goes, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I go, well, yeah. He goes, well, let me just start it now. I was like, you don't have to. And he goes, no, I'll start it now. I was like, all right, let me pull it up. And sure, that's a dental plan. It's not the most glorious, not the most luxurious, but at the end of the day here, guess who's got a foot in the door? To a potential client here, which it's going to take some maturation to it, because it's not an immediate sale. This is a 2025 enrollment. But I've already got my claim on him. I already got my guy. He's one of my guys. I'm going to call him now for his birthday. Going to check in on him, make sure everything's okay. And I saw that after I was done, and I go, damn, that was worth my time, because I didn't just get one. That's going to be a potential 4 for me by the time we're done. So your own value of time and how you perceive it, you really have to figure it out, because there are going to be situations like that where you think, why am I wasting my time? What am I doing here talking to this person that has kidney disease, that has, XYZ, all of that? Why am I wasting my time talking to this person who can't qualify for anything I can sell? So that was my little, what kind of got me on it, and why we're chatting about it today. So Victoria, do you have any stories like that here recently for Fun Friday?
situation recently where someone was not quite yet eligible for Medicare. They were a little early on the game. They were 64. They weren't quite in open enrollment, but they were starting to want to get price quotes and things like that. Explain it's not quite the time yet, but I built a lot of trust and communication with that person. And they said, you know what, actually, my sister just went on Medicare. And I don't know, it seemed like what she had was really pricey, so I'm going to send her to you. So, I mean, these things, not only are you building long-term pipeline, but you're also building credibility so that these people also feel comfortable referring people out who are eligible for Medicare and that can buy something from you, send them your way. It's always worth it. It's always worth it.
I've got one more here that happened. I don't know why this has just been this week. So we're talking about it here on a Friday. Because I had the same thing happen to me that was yesterday. I had the same thing happen on Wednesday. Had a lady that went to our website because her husband, he had an issue with the drug plan. And they didn't get the increase in time. They didn't switch it, whatever. He got a $50 increase on his drug plan, and he was livid. So I'm talking to the wife here the whole time, okay? He's at the house, but, she's the type of person, she handles everything. So I'm chatting with her, and I say, let me do a little bit of research. Let me see if we have some type of special enrollment. I'll call you back. So call her back in like an hour, and I'm like, hey, look, we've got two options. We can do this. We can see if we can enroll him, and then it works out, or we have to go the opposite route. He's got to stay with what he has, blah, blah, blah. So comes down to it, the best plan for him was a Cigna Silver. It's like Silver Springs, Springleaf, something. Springleaf's a tea, I think. Clear Spring. There we go. Springleaf a tea? Yeah, that's exactly. That's the maturation in the room there. One and only Donald Jenkins, everybody. Thank you. But but what happened is if you guys know anything about drug plans yet, the Cigna drug plan is a non-commissionable product. Now, a lot of people, you guys might be thinking too, why would you offer a non-commissionable product? Out of the goodness of your heart, you're wasting your time. Well, I said, she has an issue going on here. She's looking for a solution. She needs a person she can go to. So I had to explain to her, and I go, look, this is something all of you guys can do too, because we're not lying about it. We're just taking the wall down and the separation that I'm an agent, you're a client. It's you and me together. We're going to do this, but I'm going to keep you updated every single bit of the way. So after we got her enrolled, I told her, hey, you have to enroll on Medicare.gov. Don't worry, I can help you. If we have his Medicare card, we'll get everything submitted. And at the very end, she goes, what do you mean by non-commissionable? And I go, I don't get paid on it. And she goes, is there anything else with it? And I go, well, okay, here's the actuality behind it. Not only am I not getting paid on it, I have no record of it in my system. I can't sell Cigna drug plans because they're a private entity that only offer through Medicare.gov and their in-house agents. And there's going to be no tracking for it. So I'm not going to know the status. I'm not going to know what it is. I'm not going to know any of that. So it's going to be up to you guys to stay on top of the enrollment. And if there's any issues, y'all have to find out because I'm not going to see anything because it's not under me. She goes, wow, can't believe you did that. Why would you do that? And I go, I'm just a karma guy. I go, I'm not expecting anything out of you. I saw that you were in a position of trouble and I wanted to help you out. And she goes, well, is there anything you can get paid on? And I go, he got a plan G, right? And boom, 30 minutes later, writing him a plan G. He got approved and issued yesterday and I'll get paid next week on it. And the whole time was at the very end because she goes, you've spent 45 minutes with me here. I feel bad for you not getting paid anything. And I go, don't worry about it. I'll get the next person. It's okay. Don't worry about me. I just want to make sure you're taken care of. And then she goes, well, no, I want to do something. And I go, well, we can do this here. And that's not a lie. It's not fibbing. It's not a sales tactic to do that. It's just the honesty in having that transparency where I'm spending time with you because I'm committed to you. You came to me looking for help with a problem, and I know how to help you regardless if I get paid on it or not. I'm a human, and you're a human in need. I want to help you out. So if you think that doing these things like that, where it's going to, take more time than necessary, or you're not going to get anything out of it, you really will get something out of it depending upon what you put into it. Because if you're just going, all right, I'll go to Medicare.gov and help you. Let me go in here. All right, you'll get it in 7 to 10 days. Here you go. No. Love the one you're with. That's where the time comes into play. So, Stephen, do you have any stories or fun examples for us?
About time management?
About time management, just time in general. I mean, not wasting, walking. You ain't no friend of mine.
Oh my goodness. All right, I'm moving on.
Okay.
So anyways, talking to agents. So you guys are talking about clients, I'm
Mhm.
in the agent recruiting world. I'm talking to a lot of agents who they are jumping right to the questions. Like, how much do I get paid? How much are the leads? What do I have to do? And it comes off as disingenuous. I know that you want to know what it is, but the agents you guys that are successful, when you guys came in, it was like, no, I want to know what is it that's going to make me successful. And I just talked to a guy today who's going to be starting next week once he gets his release letter, who he just came in. He's like, I have ADHD. So I'm going to ask you every single question under the sun that pops into my mind. And I'm like, oh, God. But I love chatting with him. And I think that's a good lesson for me, but also for agents as well. Like, we like to put our personality into our sales. Like, we are successful salespeople because of who you are. Like, Brad, you got your energy, you have your energy. When we are talking to somebody that doesn't reciprocate that energy, we either try and mirror it or modify to kind of get to their level. You don't want to be like, hey, how's it going? And the other person on the other line is like, Eeyore, But learning from this experience, like, I was just myself and he was just himself and we just matched up. And it was so great to see, like, man, I'm glad we talked for a good hour and we were divergent. We were like going off on tangents, but the time we spent together made me feel that guy's going to be a great agent. He's going to be a great contribution to this company. And I think that kind of can translate to who you're talking to. Like, if you don't like somebody at first, you as experienced agents are like, I don't care if you don't like me or I don't like you right now. You're going to like me because I'm going to be working through that. So that was a good lesson that I learned today. Like, oh man, this guy's gonna be talking forever. But then in the end, we became BFFs. It was great.
And I can recall back when I first was considering starting here, I just wanted to know, is it a fair split, between what I'm getting and what the house is getting?
Right.
And I kind of could work some things in my head. I'm like, okay, that's enough for me to know that that's fair. I can work with that. But I can speak for myself and for when you were an agent and Jacob and probably you too, Brad, like, we don't look at how much we're going to get paid in commission before we sell something. I think when you do the right thing and your heart is in the right place and the focus is in the right place, the money will come, right? Because if you were to recommend a mid-price supplement because you're going to get paid more on it, well, what's going to happen? Karma is real. They're going to go around, they're going to find out that you did not sell them the lowest and you held out on purpose, and they're going to just quietly buy with someone else and you'll get nothing. So it's just better to just do the right thing and really have their best interest in mind from the get-go.
I'll say this too, and if you guys haven't learned yet, I'm a big story guy here, so get ready. But this is a story from the floor here with one individual. And for our second Bible verse today, I'm quoting Crows 2:11. Time and time again. Great song from their very first album. Please go check it out. One of the best ones of all time. But
he's a 90s music
There's an individual on the floor here that has learned a very hard lesson the past 2 days. Okay. They have either tried to quote a premium or have tried to get a scope of appointment or an Advantage plan suggestion within the first 10 minutes. How many has that person sold? 0. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Why? Because the people on the other line know that they're trying to sell them something. Like, dang, it's not that hard. It's really not. You know who has been selling stuff? Us here who spend, especially with new clients, we're at least an hour to hour and a half to 2 hours too, depending upon just how the conversation goes. Okay? If you can't invest time into other people, but still value your time as well, they're going to see right through it. They're going to see that you're trying to sell them something. They don't care. They go, all right, well, what's this number here? Because guess what? The next person that calls them and can beat their price, they're gone. I had a guy call me today. Jim called me. I've been working with him for years. And he goes, hey, I had this Aetna guy call me. He has an Aetna supplemental plan. He goes, yeah, he called me, tried to sell me a plan in, but I wanted to talk to you first. And I go, well, joke's on him, because if he was actually good and sold you, I still would have got paid.
Yeah.
He didn't pick a different carrier. Like, that guy's an idiot. He goes, but we talked about the difference between Plan G and Plan N, and he stayed with his Plan G. In that conversation, took 5 to 7 minutes for us to discuss that. And then the rest of the time, he was telling me about how he's got a new girlfriend and what he's been up to. The time that you invest in these people is how much you're going to get out of it. Because that same example right there, where you go immediately, there's a guy here who always says it's just like dating. Okay. If I approach you and I'm like, hey, would you like a drink? And you go, yes, I would. And I go, okay, can I get an engagement ring, please?
Yeah.
But you know what? Every guy has tried that, like right from the get-go. Can I get your number? No? Oh, okay. Then I'll just shrink away into the shadows there. Not every agent, but lots of agents have tried that. It's a rookie mistake, yes. And, rightfully so. You get to your license and you're like, let's sell, right? Or we always tell people, change up your style, right? Sometimes people will try, well, let's try the direct approach. And, I think sometimes you got to try it to see if it works or not. And when you find that it doesn't, okay, then you revert back to the core, which is getting to know these people. Don't go into it with an attitude of selling something, right? But, a lot of agents try that, just try it out to see how it works, right? Because there's millions of agents that do that and somehow they make some money. So, I think it's a strategy to try. Is it probably not a very good one? No, I don't think it is. But, it is a strategy to play around with. Yeah. You just got to be careful. Definitely.
Agreed. Sure. And also, like, talking to agents too, you really got to be aware of who you are. Like, I like all of you guys. You guys are likable people. And when I listen to you guys on the phone, I'm like, I'd buy something from you. Like, you don't have to have a skill set. You just have to have a likable personality. When I listen to you guys on the phone, it's like, man, you guys are fun. You're engaging, and like, I'm going back to talking to these agents. Some of them have been on the phone for a few weeks and they're like, I am not computing any plans. What is my problem? I cannot, it's like, you are boring. That's why you are unlikable. And so it's hard to tell these agents that are having, a rough start. Like, well, are you having these kind of conversations? Well, I'm pitching 5 minutes into the call, or they're not signing my scope. I'm having a problem with the signing of the scope. It's like, how long are you talking to them? Oh, 10 minutes. Well, they don't see the other side. And we deal with this all the time when we have new agents coming in, like, hey, they're having problems signing the scope. Well, they're probably faking it because they don't want to sign with you, So anyways, being aware of your personality is very important. You got to adjust to your personality and like having fun on the phone and sounding energetic on the phone, like being somebody to talk to. That's going to get you further in the conversation, not the knowledge that you have.
The example I love is from Tommy Boy.
We're doing strictly musical.
Oh, okay,
so
whatever.
Sorry,
well, you know what I mean when they're like.
So over to Brad Jenkins here. Unless you have a music Bible verse, then we won't take it today.
Sorry. Tell your story. So go ahead. Yeah. So do
time after from Lopper 720. Time after time. Chill.
Okay. We've always had two main rules here. Number one is never prejudge a lead. You don't know really what the potential is and who you're talking to. And the other one is love the one you're with. It's amazing what you can uncover having a conversation with people and actually trying to determine what they need to do. And I can tell you story after story how that's been beneficial for me. And I wound up, creating business. And like Jacob said earlier, other rule of sales, sell them something, become their agent, or they're your customer. That way you've got a foot in the door. Your phone number is not going to get screened out. You can always go back and reopen things and sell them more things, make sure they're taken care of. But it does come down to the relationship. It always does. And people have to feel comfortable with you. They have to trust you. Because just like you said, you get into it, you try jumping into the nuts and bolts and the sign up procedures and everything else too early. Hold on now, we'll think about it, whatever excuse. But spend some time with them. You talk, small talk, whatever it is, common ground. You're in. you know, whatever it is, you have to find the common ground. But yeah, I mean, it's just a simple
Mhm.
process.
Yeah.
I mean, I've sold people under 65 in states where under 65 isn't offered, but what did I sell them? Indemnity plan or,
Mhm.
you know, any of these other things, you know, final expense policies, whatever we have to offer in our bag of tricks. But if they need it, you know, so, you know, it really comes down to take your time.
Mhm.
Take your time throughout the whole thing. There's no reason to rush it. You've got somebody on the phone. How hard is it to get people on the phone these days?
Would you rather call 30 people every minute on the minute?
Yeah.
Or talk to one person for 30
Yeah,
minutes?
talk to one people. At least you'll feel better. You're not going to get into this hate dialing mode where you just, oh, this sucks.
How many policies did you sell
This year so far?
The question. Yeah. No, last year.
So, Brad, how many policies did you sell last year?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't even know. I don't really keep track of that stuff. I can tell you since I've been here, I've done about 6,500 applications and I've had over 5,000 policies issued, you know, and a lot of what I do is just maintain my book, you know, and get referrals from that. Because, you know, people step down, people die and whatever. And there's an incredible amount of opportunity there just working within your own group of people. I mean, one person, I mean, I've developed relationships with other insurance agents that don't want anything to do with Medicare supplements, accountants, you know.
Community. When we talked about community
Yeah,
last week,
I mean,
this is exactly what we mean by community.
Yeah, they go in
you.
for their taxes. Oh, yeah, I need help with my Medicare. I got a guy. I've gotten 50. I mean, it's amazing, you know, and this is a, you know, immediate trust factor.
Mhm.
Number one, of course, you help them out, you go through everything with them, but you don't have that wall there, you know, and that's how you really develop your book. And, you know, when people step down, I mean, you want to get them back on the books with something. Just make sure they're taken care of. Yeah. That's all. That's the bottom line.
Good. Okay, so we're going to transition now. We do have to try the whiteboard for Mr. Buckley back there. So I am going to come up with something on the fly here, okay? It's going to be a little interactive as well, too. Here, I'll start in the top left corner. See how that works here. No, we'll do this real quick here, and then we'll switch over too. So let's put here. Let's see. Can we see that? You see that says meds. Okay, like medications. Let's go. Just imagine that's a clock. I failed art. Okay, more of a science guy. But has anyone here, anybody that's right now with us, or we're going to join here into the private one later here, who's ever had somebody tell them that I don't want to give you my meds?
Oh, yeah.
Every person around here has their hand up. Who's ever said, I don't feel comfortable giving you my social and banking information? Every single person ever. Why? Because you haven't done enough time with them. Now, I tell you what, I'm on a hot streak here recently. This is to toot my own horn, okay? I haven't had anybody tell me no in the past 4 months when recommending a policy.
You jinxed it.
It's okay. Hey, I've already got the belt. I'm good.
All right.
So, and the commission coming too. So,
Fair enough.
but when it comes to these three things here with meds, majority of the time, I'm not even touching this until I'm 45 minutes in. Because everything I'm doing before, this is when we get into the very sensitive things that people hold to themselves, that they don't give out until you have built trust with them. So why am I jumping from intro to what medications are you taking? Because when you're only doing half of this, you're only going to get half of this, but you need all three in order to sell a policy correctly. Correctly is the key word here. So when I ask for social, when I ask for checking, it's not, please, sir, may I please have your social, or may I please have your routing number? No, it's, hey, man, what's your social? And they go, blah, 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 blah. I go, okay, perfect. I'm going to need your check-in here in a second, but let me get to it. And then just continue the app. You know, the more time that you're spending with these people, the less concerns they have about disclosing information, pivotal information that you need to submit an application, information you need to pay your bills, to pay your credit cards, pay for your house, pay for your lights, to keep everything going on. In order to pay for that, you've got to put the time in and get this. Because if you're jumping 5 or 6 minutes in on that first date, because that's what your call is. Your call is you on a first date. If you're already asking them about their family health history, hey, do your parents have any history of heart attack? Is anybody diabetic? You got some good genes on you? You know, that they aren't true religion, but actual genes, okay? That's what you're asking, right? Of course everybody's going to tell you no because you're not invested in them. So once you spend enough time with them, all of this, they'll give you anything you want. And that's not a bad thing, okay? But you have to be as open as they are with it. You have to share about yourself because this is very vulnerable things that people are giving up, but they have to know that by them doing it, you both are getting something in return for it, okay? So luckily that actually worked out pretty well. Beautiful, way to go, proud of you.
Well, when I'm talking to people, I even before I just say who I am, why, what it was that their alert for help that I received, and then I say, what's going on? That's I don't even say what is going on with your Medicare, what is going on with your drugs. I say, what's up? And I let them have the floor, and they can talk about anything they want to talk about, whether it's their gripe about how their doctor was treating them or not, you know, listening to their needs, and I'm listening to them. I'm also listening to the background things. If I hear grandkids in the background, I'm there to say, oh, I'm so sorry, my grandkid, he's just being real loud. I'm babysitting. And I'll say, he sounds young. You know, how old is he? What's his name? And we're talking about all kinds of things, anything other than Medicare, getting to know them. Having them see that I'm not there to sell them something. I really am there to get to know them. And then by the end of it, I can't tell you how many sales I've made and I'm like, okay, well, let's do this. Let's move your supplement for this company. And they're like, okay, you need my social, you need my checking, you need my Medicare ID number. I'll be like, oh, hang tight, one sec, we'll get that. They are literally throwing this information at you because the whole time you've built this, whole picture for them of who you are. They can't see you, but they feel like they can see you and that they do know you. By the end of it, they feel so comfortable with you. Like sometimes like you're their friend or you're their family member. They're willing to give you anything they need and put their trust in your hands. And that starts by not even talking about sales stuff or business for the first half of the call. You got to do it.
Excuse me. When you extrapolate on it even more, you're really not selling them anything.
No.
You're just listening to what they need, and then you're making recommendations on what they need. That's why I love doing this, because I am listening to them. When I used to do insurance prior to Medicare, I felt icky. I'm like, oh, I got to sell them a PNC. I got to do this. I got to sell them something. But when I came to Medicare and I started learning how Medicare works and listening to you guys, I'm like, oh, I'm not selling anything. I'm just having conversations with these people. I'm listening to, what their concerns are. And I'm like, hey, I can recommend something for you. I'm not even selling them anything. It just so happens I get paid on what I recommend, So that's what I really like doing this, is because these people need help. And I always say this with agents too, like anytime I interview an agent, they're always like, well, I like helping people. And I think it goes even further than that. I don't think we're just helping people. I think we're saving their life. Mm-hmm. We are literally getting them the situation so that they will stay alive.
But to save their life, you have to get to know their life first.
That's very true.
It's an emotional thing. You have to get into their emotions. I don't care what business you're in. Mm-hmm. You have to get in their emotions. They have to like you, mm-hmm. And it comes down to that. It's a feeling. These walls people put up and buyers that put up walls, and feature, advantage, benefit, all this kind of thing. That's end of the line stuff. Mm-hmm. You have to break down their emotions to break down the wall, and you have to have that connection, the emotional connection with the person you're trying to develop a business relationship with, and it's, it's been said in sales books, good salespeople actually hypnotize their clients because they get them in an emotional state. Why do you have to sell them while you're on the phone with them? Because they're in that state. What happens if you let it go and you call them back? Oh yeah, they're out of the mode, you know, you got to start all over, you know. So it's a psychological thing, it's an emotional thing, but it's also unconscious. Good salespeople do this. They know what they're doing, but it just happens automatically. I'm a musician, you know, and I learned a long time ago, you can't think about what you're doing. If you're doing singing, playing, and doing 2 things, 3 things at once, it just happens, you know, and that's the way it has to go in the sales process. You can't think about it. What am I going to say next? Okay, they're saying this. You're going to screw it up. You know, practice, you know, everything so you know it. And just like a good athlete, you don't think about, you know, hitting that baseball. I mean, you do it. It's a subconscious thing. And you have to get to where it's subconscious. And you just do the right things. You have the right answers. But the main focus, you know, you have to have the main goal is to connect with them, you know, and create that relationship with the client.
You know, and to wrap up before we go to our private Zoom meeting here with our Guru Career Agents, I just want to give you guys a concrete example to know we're not BSing you. You know, this is not something where you can go reading a book or anything like this. This is our firsthand accounts of how we do this and how it interacts with us here. When I first started here, it was more of a closer role. You know, I had to work my way up from apprentice to then it was closer. And at the time here, it was a little bit of a different setup to where I was allotted, you know, you're in and out. We want you to be on the phone for 15 minutes and then on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one, which was terrific because guess what? We're selling hundreds upon hundreds of policies every month. You know, it's awesome. That was year 1 through 1.5 to almost to year 2. Well, guess what? 2 years later, guess which policies are canceling?
Yeah, who are you?
Yeah. Who is getting canceled? Whose number's blocked? It's a guy from 2019, 2020 that was just ripping Band-Aids left and right, selling people, thinking, I'm getting my book together. I'm getting everything together. Now, if I get a cancellation notice or anything, you know what year it's from? 2020. Because something in 2021 clicked when we switched here and we said, you know what? You're in charge of everything you do. And once I became in charge of everything I do, everybody started buying Jacob Crotty. They didn't buy the damn policy. They didn't pay less for it. They bought me, and now I don't get cancellations past that date. Because they know me, because I put the time in it, because it's not I'm only allotted 15 minutes here. This is your premium. Okay, these are your meds. All right, this is where you're qualified. Let me ask you the health questions. I'll be back on to sign the application. Thanks, bye. Next one. All right, let me see your meds. Let me see your premiums. No. That's a real world example. So you can treat it like that, sure. You know, go ahead and do it. You know, sell hundreds of them. But when that renewal time comes around and you have some service calls or you try to call them back next year, they're not going to pick your number up. They don't know who you are. You didn't spend enough time with them. So that's our scared straight for the very end here. All right. I'm not going to start banging on the walls or anything like that or calling you all names. But any other time song titles before we leave that you can think of? Here's back to
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
That's not time. Time is not in the title of that song booklet.
Oh.
I remember the
Fail.
old one, Time. That's
Oh yeah,
back in the
by
60s.
War.
By War.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Pink Floyd, Time as well too.
Yes, that's
Correct?
what that's what I quoted you earlier today.
I can't think of anything else. So
No.
Joe Montemasa's time clocks. We don't punch time clocks here, you know.
Yep, that's good.
Well, we do, but it doesn't matter for some of us.
You can't think out
Not
of
for
this
me.
90s window.
The Dolphins made me cry. Oh, that doesn't.
that's
Yeah.
Post Malone, right?
No,
Okay.
that's Tootie. That's
Take-
Tootie.
Oh, that's good.
That's is it Time?
That's not the name of the song. It's
It-
Fly Like an Eagle.
I was flying the name of the
Yeah,
song. That's
yeah.
it.
No, but that's Time in the lyric.
I know. I said Take Money and Run first thing.
Yeah.
Jet Airliner is the best one. But all right, guys. So we are going to end here. We are going to hop over to the Zoom call. So for everybody watching, thank you guys so much. If you want to learn more about Guru's Career Agents, call this man right here who stole my haircut and my vest look, and he's going to start wearing LL Bean sweaters now too. So y'all have a great
You're
weekend.
great. You're handsome, man.
Call us if you have any questions, you need any help. We will be here. And here's my new send off. You ready? Have you heard it?
No.
Be good, and if you can't be good, be safe.